So let's welcome in Jake Burns from the Orange and Brown Report. Jake, one of our favorite Browns reporters across the state. Jake, what do you make of the signing? What do you think of Takk McKinley?
I think it made sense from they didn't want to spend in a high excess of money on the position necessarily after John Johnson was signed for the type of deal he was signed for. I certainly think that there are well, I should say this. There's a desire to add good players at the defensive end position opposite Myles Garrett. I think that they're certainly looking at different avenues that they can possibly go to get as many of those guys as they can. I'm not surprised they went with McKinley. It's a guy they claimed 3 times off of waivers just last year after the fallout in Atlanta. It seems like there was a disconnect between the Atlanta coaching staff and McKinley. So, we'll have to dig a little bit more into what went on there, but there's no doubt it was a disappointing final season of his rookie deal. So, like I said, the Browns are interested partly because of a reclamation project. Sometimes a fresh scenery situation can help a guy. Like I said, they tried to claim him. They did not get a claim on him. I think the Bengals and 49ers and then ultimately the Raiders beat them to it in the progression of the order there. So, not at all a surprise connection, something that we at the OBR have talked about several different times as a connection between the Browns. Still interested in his services. So, he's 25. He's had a couple seasons. His first 2 years, he had really good production numbers. Even his first 3 years, I believe he had 117 quarterback pressures his first 3 years, upwards of 8 sacks his second year, according to Pro Football Focus, and 6 sacks his rookie year. So there's something there. It's just trying to figure out what that disconnect was last year between that groin injury that he had that put him on the outs with Atlanta, and then sort of how that manifested itself into 2 failed physicals before he landed on the long-term IR with the Raiders. So, I don't totally know some of those little intricacies, but a guy who has not had bad pass rush grades throughout his career in snaps. He's not played a high volume, never more than 600 and some change in the NFL in terms of total snaps, but a nice rotational player. And if they go out and sign somebody or draft somebody and pick 26 or 59 that they feel can be that guy too, they could certainly look to piece together 3 good players at that position. So you like that it's a low base, $4.25 million, as Adam Schefter reported, and could get up to 6 if he hits some of those incentives. So I like it as a projecting like a rebuild type player who could come in, like I said, and if he has that, I'm not trying to call it a Shaq Barrett situation, but if he has that sort of launch, sometimes a change of scenery, a change of perspective, joining a different franchise that may be on the up and up instead of what Dan Quinn was doing there at the end of his career in Atlanta before his firing, can really launch a guy. Not saying that he gets to Shaq Barrett levels, but go through some of early Shaq Barrett numbers, and you would be surprised how he wasn't producing, and a lot of people didn't really want him. So then he lands in Tampa and takes off. So that's obviously the goal here, is to find a diamond in the rough like this where he gets into the right franchise, maybe opposite Myles Garrett, gets a lot of one-on-one situations and can win enough snaps that launches his career into the second contract here in his career. So I think it's a low risk situation for the Browns with a ton of upside. If it doesn't pan out, 1-year deal, just like last year, a lot of those 1-year deals. If it does, you got your foot in the door with a player who could potentially be a guy long-term part of your defense at just 25 years of age. So overall, pretty good signing, but it's not the end all be all for the end position opposite of Myles. So don't think that this is like the answer. There could be many answers that still arise.
Yeah, and Jake, I think the way I look at more is this is a guy that replaces Adrian Claiborne. He's a younger Adrian Claiborne by about 8 years. Claiborne would be 33 in July, and Takk's 25 and change.